in India, he had that following, he had wealth, status, everything. And he decided to go to States, cut his hair, wear a suit. What was his reason behind doing this? What was his trigger, or what was his reason of bringing this shift in his life?
Right. So a lot of what happened with him is he witnessed a lot of people who would go to these types of spiritual leaders or transformational leaders or whoever it may be, and they'd give their lives over to these people, right? And a lot of them were not real teachers, false teachers, or teachers who abuse or manipulate or take your money and don't do anything for you, just kind of create this status and this psychological belief. And he said that from a very young age, right, he heard this story about Krishna where it's essentially like, the worst thing that you can do, that, Krishna was talking to somebody who was asking, what can you forgive? And he gave a list of all the things he can forgive. But he said, the one thing that I can't forgive is if you give someone like a sincere seeker false hope. He says, it's the one thing I can never forgive. And so that was something that was just inherent to him. He was like, am I giving them false hope? Am I one of these teachers? He's like, they're getting benefits and I see the outcome, right? They're reporting to me huge benefits, but I just need to know, what are the limits? What are the capabilities of this blessing? Why is it limited to only people? Right? Why have all these people who are doing these blessings or teaching these rituals and dogmas or whatever it may be, why have they not tried to establish this scientifically? And why have they not tried to extend it to things beyond those with psychological influence, like beyond people? Why have they not tried? I mean, if it's God doing the miracle, then why is God only capable of transforming humans? God can surely do more than that. God is the creator. God created everything. God can change everything. So God can change non-living materials. God can change bacteria and viruses. God can change all of that. He says he's actually one of the greatest skeptics there is, which is ironic. You probably don't expect someone who's enlightened to say that, but I think it's more of a testament to his ethics, his morality, and his integrity than it is skepticism about the nature of God. It was more like he wanted to be a leader with integrity. And he also understood the importance and significance of establishing this scientifically. He knew that this is something that is the only thing that can solve all of the most prevalent problems we see today, where science, technology, and modern medicine have reached their limits in being able to address. And so we see a lot of people running away and falling away from religion and spirituality, even if they haven't really given up on God yet, right? They're showing signs where they're giving up on a lot of those avenues, those pathways to God. And so he says the only way that religion and spirituality will prove useful again to humanity, where humanity will depend on it in the same way they depend on science and technology, is when spirituality and religion can offer more than what science can deliver. And so he saw the outcome of the blessings, and he thought this needs to be an objective, empirical, scientific reality for all those reasons. For the integrity of religion and spirituality, to restore people's faith in God, to establish a fact-based God, not a faith-based God. Because God, if God's real, God is fact-based. God can be demonstrated in a lab using all the scientific protocols that we use for all natural phenomena. And so, that was his whole journey leading up to it. So for me, it's an indication of a man full of honesty, authenticity, and integrity. That's what I see. That was his pull and his motivation. He wasn't interested in the facade of the guru. He was interested in the real thing.